An agent is a professional at work. Restoration of body parts for the dead who are not intact before the funeral. And alcohol was his daily refreshing drink. One day as usual. You've just finished restoring your arm. For the dead, Trong Quan, your brother brought you a business. He carried a corpse that had lost its head and said they'll pay you very well for your labor. He said he should take a sip of wine and said it's bad luck, so you don't want to accept. Zhang also emphasized that this is also a blessing. And after completion, you will be paid a lot of money. He's got a wig ready. Just make a head and put a wig on. Just then, a man in a coat appeared outside. Cover the whole face, give him a bag of money to pay. Then leave now. Seeing too much money, he accepted immediately. Your brother wants to distress. Leave him alone to work. He cobbled the tree wrapped out to make the head for the girl. When you're done, you put a wig on your head. Then he put a sewing head around the corpse's neck. The work is unfinished outside the dogs bark. I guess there will be bad news. So you go out and chase the dogs. When the dogs are gone, he turned inside to continue the work. Then he was stunned. The body and the head are gone. He looked around and couldn't find it. He flipped all the beds. I couldn't find it on the floor. There is a shadow behind you now. He hurriedly turned around and saw nothing. The shadow is clearly hidden. I was scared but still trying to find it. From above your head, a hand touched his face and he turned and saw nothing. Keep looking, find out what you're clean of. He screamed and ran home. From the day the ghosts played, you go home crazy, no longer know anything. In the house, the psychic is doing magic to cast out evil spirits from his body. The more you do, the more you scream and go crazy. Beating and tearing down the table and the altar. My wife doesn't feel well. He called his family to drink. You can get water made from blood of squid dogs in combination with the heirloom for you to drink. He had a seizure and died on the spot. The ritual was not successful. She did not know because SAO7 failed in front of the family. He died for unknown reasons. So the new million-strong police are taking over. The captain was invited. After being introduced to you by the bearded, my colleague is guarding the scene. Captain began to review the situation. At the crime scene, a squid dog is still suffering, hanging up to cut off the secretion as Captain medicine. Million, asking colleagues to bring blood cups for testing. Look around, no signs of abnormality. Ask someone in the family to find out. A few days ago he came home crazy. Talking all the time. Your son invited a lot of teachers. Lang came to examine and remove medicine but there's no result. She came to the house and said he was haunted. I'll help you exorcise. The daughter begged. The police demanded justice for their father. The judge was also invited to testify. He said he didn't know who the headless corpse was. I don't know if she has. They hired him for a high price. Let him bring it to the Senate. Great CA. He was killed by a headless ghost and went insane. I've been talking all day about the devil. And he's the one who called the police to investigate. So he's not the killer. Let the police stop looking for him. People around asked, does anyone know where she is? They said she lives in a church in Fengdu town, and it's been abandoned for years. There's no one there. It's also called the Devil's Truth. I heard that Captain Million didn't ask any more questions. I went back to look at the body. People through the dark night, sneaking through the grasses, led bicycle climbing the steep hill of the shepherd to find her companion. The cover still has the sign, but the house is damp. Leo wire covered inside. It's surrounded by the bones of the animals that are sprawling. There's a mysterious red glow inside. The captain told everyone to be quiet. Look through the gap. I saw the woman sitting in front of the magic table. Inside is a religious ritual, hanging around a lot of animal carcasses. Granny always mouth and creepy. He kept knocking on the turtle's shell. By observing Dung, I knew it was a 5-animal ritual. She discovered someone had broken in. Stop chanting. When the police came in to interrogate her, she attacked them. The police tried to tie her up. Inside, a stormer intervenes and fights the police. He was suspected of being an accomplice by the police to investigate the police station. Look around. I found the bottom of the 5-pointed altar. There are sheets of shelter. I brought it back to observe. Then that's the guidance that the cult uses to perform body stitching. It turned out that night, she brought the headless corpse to the Great Wall to ask you to do the stitching, help her complete the ritual, but did not expect you'd become a sacrifice to evil spirits. Right now, save Dung on the report that has the results of the autopsy. Turns out Lee died of a broken skull. And in his body was the poison of the fairy grass. The captain kept asking his wife about the poison she gave him. And the headless woman is AI, but the woman still wouldn't say. So Cho locked her up in Lau's house. Continue to take use both 3. The suspect is a co-conspirator. Turns out he's the one from the old lady's house. Since your boss died. Then he returned to the countryside to farm, back to the capital to visit. The government has no one. Your boss, the lady, also went crazy. Have mercy on the owner. So some days he brought her food. Known save 3 not know the great agent. So Captain Cho put him in Lau's house to continue the investigation. After several days of investigating the murder of the corpse, results. Captain Million returns home with a tired body. I fell down on the chair, my daughter. I have a dream that I want you to eat the fruit. I also saw that I was tired and came to punch my husband. You just talked to your wife. Just playing untethered with my daughter. Your wife heard you're investigating a case in the government. Is extremely worried because it's been uninhabited for years. There will be many demons. I advise my wife not to worry and tell you, I found a doctor to treat your mute. The girl went to the doctor for the exam. Captain is known. The headless corpse is a woman, about 30 years old, and died 3 years ago, but it's not washed. There are black particles in your body. It's the fruit of a very rare plant. It's called fairy grass. This substance is also found on the body of the elder. It has the effect of causing hallucinations. So before you die, you keep saying dead bodies don't come asking for their lives. They even guess that the poison, when combined with squid dog blood, will be deformed. It helps a woman's body stay intact. Holding squid dog blood jar containing the poison of fairy grass, he went to her to interrogate her and make her confess. The woman trembled when she heard it. 7 and just say she's the devil. She performed an animal ritual to exorcise. She's been looking for this ritual for 3 years since that girl died. She begged. The police let her out so she could finish the ceremony, or the headless ghosts will come to take their lives. Caught by the police, he told her to plead guilty to murder. She was so upset that she pulled his hand in. While tying you in, Love drops her wig to reveal clearly her head and face were a large burn scar. She was so angry that she bit his hand hard until it bled. People leave the blood in their cells. Nothing to investigate. 3 sad people invited each other to drink. While eating and drinking, they didn't forget to talk about the murder. The body remains at the police station pending investigation. Outside, the night falls in the dark and scary. She sat shivering, always looking out the door. All 3 cops got drunk and didn't know anything. She cut off her hand and wrote a spell on the wall with blood. In the next cell, I sat down to observe each of her strange actions. She wrote but was afraid of something. Then she knelt down and recited the exorcisms and a continuous cloud of smoke filled the entire cell. She could feel something behind her. She was terrified but continued to pray. You see a shadow? She kept telling me to stay here. I didn't kill you, don't come looking for me. Suddenly, the ghost vanished into a black smoke incarnate. Into the bronze, she kept banging her head against the bloody wall. Save 3 see the scene to panicked. So he shouted for everyone. She committed suicide. She slowly fell down, with a face that looked scary. The 3 police officers drank their cars and broke up. The beard brought back the courage, and the captain went the other way alone. Behind, you always have a head, Theo takes you home. The wife of a million people sitting sewing was stabbed by Kim. I know there are bad signs. The captain came home drunk. So your wife is very worried. I told you to go to bed early. See the blood that millions of people accidentally attached to the mirror. She took a cloth to wipe her glasses. The lights in the house at the right time flashing and then shut it off. She continued to wipe the blood. When you look in the mirror, you see a shadow. You can't see it outside. You keep looking in the mirror. It turned out to be a headless man. Terrified, she looked around for, I saw my head on the mirror. Millions of people woke up with severe pain. You go down to the house. I wonder why my wife covers her glasses. All 3 together, sitting at the table. I asked if I had seen anything strange lately. When I asked you what was wrong, you didn't tell me. Your daughter sees you drinking a lot. I want to have lunch ready, give me food to replenish. Whole house. I always gather around the table very happy. When I went to the police station, they told me she was dead. 3 tells the story of the devil. You saw last night. Please let the police out. Because you're scared. On the earwax and floating a lot of nodes, they discovered there are also black particles on her body. And the autopsy results of the psychic are skeletal. The whole body is broken. I suspect she was afraid of suicide. Someone outside called you because your daughter came. She stuck candy in the police officer's hand. She brought me rice as she promised. Both of you have fun eating together, while the captain meets with his colleagues to talk about the facts of the case. The dream is boring. Should take a look around. She goes to an uninhabited area, back and forth of the police station. It's a strange room, girl. Open the door and go inside. He was in time to come and stop it. Do not enter. She gave me a piece of candy to thank. Because there's an autopsy in there. Outside, everybody's messing around looking for a dream. Because I can't see her. Blame millions of people for not watching. She's careful. At this point, Dung brought the dream out. Blame her. Courage to come next to comfort. And put a piece of candy in her mouth. Babe eating fun. The forensics said, fairy grass seeds can grow, growing in the human body. And you tell me when the body dies. It creates a gas. And there will be many pathogens. The ancients didn't know, so they thought it was a ghost. And evil spirits are just a way of being superstitious. My wife and I think death is due to hallucinations. Dung is washing dishes. Then she asked the dream to get her mother an apron, but she didn't say a word. Just standing at the end of the head looking in one direction and walking the wrong way. It feels strange, but I think she's tired. The bearded report identified the headless corpse. Before he died as the robe of the spring and autumn town, but the troop had disbanded 3 years earlier. So it's hard to investigate. In the night the moon is falling asleep. A man found out he didn't see his wife. Get up and look for it. I found my wife washing the dishes. Your mouth always says you're a traitor. You keep calling and your wife doesn't answer. I saw you coming closer to your wife. Then suddenly her head fell off. I was so scared, I was startled, it was just a dream. You rush out. I heard a noise in my daughter's room. You rush in. I saw her standing face to face against the wall. I heard you call her back. Her forehead was broken and covered in blood. Both parents rushed her to the hospital. At the hospital, she was screaming and screaming. A lot of people hold you back, but nothing can be done. The doctor gave her a sedative, but she snatched the needle and stabbed it back. She attacked her father, and everybody was there. Finally, people grab you and put you to bed. Her body suddenly curled up like a bent plank and lied on motionless. The doctor said there was a strange poison in her. This poison gave her a strong arousal and gave birth to a serious tendency to violence. Currently, her strength also ran out quickly. It's not good to be agitated forever. The hospital has no cure if you can't find the source of the poison. Listen to the doctor finished. Both spouses are very worried and blame themselves. They can't protect her well. Million people comfort your wife and both try to take care of you. Millions of people sitting in the salon staring at the rope and replay the game that girls used to play. Then think, I don't know why your daughter has it. Because why was it poisoned by fairy grass? To the police department, you spend all your time throwing out all the files to search for Cho, the file on the woman's murder. Lost his head home. While sitting sadly next to a picture of her daughter. That feel the pain. Sorry, I can't do anything for you. And there's no one who's begging to eat the fruit that be peeled. That's when your daughter showed up, with a bright smile on your lips. Rush to embrace her daughter happily. And put a kiss on the girl's crooked forehead. Your father and I had a lot of fun playing rope. Turns out that's not your daughter. It's a headless ghost. It's not over yet. Your daughter suddenly changed color. I always blame you for being a loser. If you look back, it's a headless ghost. I woke up and my head was still sweating. It turned out to be just a dream. I had too much alcohol last night, so I fell asleep. Go to your daughter's room and see if you can't see her. I went looking for you. Search around, not found. I saw her coming down from the top and singing. Like a peach girl. The face is flamboyant makeup. I was surprised to ask my wife, why wear makeup like that? But you don't answer, you just worship like a soulless person, just walking and dancing. He pulled her shoulder to see. Then I saw that she had signs of fairy grass poisoning. I am angry that so many people have died. And his wife and children were also poisoned by fairy grass. So millions of people went to Lau's house to fight. Let him report a battle. He said he really connected. What does this have to do with the murder and the murder? His real name is American. She's the daughter of a pastor. She knew and married a man. I have a wife. When he returned to the roots, he changed his name to Wood. When parents die, the priest who came to power frequently abused her. Then you should go crazy. Once in a spell to invoke. You accidentally burned the entire building. Fortunately, he came to the rescue in time. But you're also seriously injured. And the priest's wife is called the Child. Is a very famous drama CA. She's a bartender at the Spring and Autumn Theater. I don't know why they cut off my head. That died tragically and the pasture has since disappeared. The case also found the killer. And convicted 3 years ago. Suspect. It all started with the murder of a dead body, not a million people. With a thick beard and bravery. Go to the old police station to check the case file. 6 in a pile of crumbling records stored here. It seems lucky not to smile at them, but we finally found the file on the murder. In the lake, there's a lot of evidence in the case. Million people look through the profile. Turns out the guy who solved the case caught the killer. It is courage. But with such a shocking murder, the courage is not impressed. Suddenly in the file fell out a photo. He hurriedly picked it up, and the face of the million people suddenly changed. I run away so fast. It turns out that the person in the picture is your wife. Millions of people rush home to find their wives. The electrical system has broken down in the house. So you have to use a flashlight to see every corner. A woman appears in front of you. She wears the clothes of a CA drama. I wonder where my wife got this outfit. Suddenly something fell to the ground. His wife disappeared. I search around. I saw my wife laying her head on the floor, like looking for something. Is that a ghost? Millions of people fell to the ground in panic. The ghost grabbed my feet and dragged me to the ground. I tried to resist and run away. The ghost is chasing me into a room. I locked the door. Suddenly I heard a noise. Did you light the searchlight? If you see anything unusual, look under the table. Turns out it's the ghost's head. Head rolling out the door. The ghost picked it up on his neck. I turned on the light and saw a scary face. Hurry and close the door, but not in time for the ghost to enter. Face for you screaming in horror. The ghost is very powerful. One hand grab, throw away. Then come and grab your neck and hold it up. While you're dying, accidentally dropped a family photo on the ground. Then wake up and us hit the ghost. Let go. She rushed to me, sorry, and fainted. To the beard and saved Dung. On the way home from the murder files, the beard kept wondering, I don't remember the case I solved. And the knife in the case looks familiar. Suddenly confused the brave, I told my beard to go into the desert. I'll tell you what happened. Dung pulled out a knife and stabbed the stomach of the beard. Because he knew too much. Turns out the knife in the Headless murder was the knife. The courage to always carry it with you. The beard saw it. Used to be like that. The beard was killed so badly that he couldn't close his eyes. The knife was at the crime scene. The courage is missing. Let's string all the facts. Since the discovery of the headless corpse, he always urged me to burn the body. End the case early. Until the knife that killed two people was won. I think the killer is brave. Tell the police to protect the scene, and ordered the capture of Dung. When we got to his house, the door was locked. The view inside the house was mind-boggling. The altar is smoking incense, jars containing unclean objects. It's similar to the 5 animals ritual at the grandmother's house. You break the battle that's laid out on the floor, treading down the altar, and opened up a map of the place where the 5 animal ceremony took place. And a jar full of fairy grass seeds. The address on the map is a ghost dump. It's not far away. Immediately he ran to the exorcism site for the exorcism, using the head of a poisoned person as a sacrifice. He came to see that someone had set up the battle and the altar. Performed the ritual. I look around. I see that it has been placed there. When he called his wife, he was attacked in the back and tied to a tree. I was knocked unconscious. I heard my wife screaming. I woke up in front of a person performing an exorcism. He's brave. He took off the veil and the head of his wig, and then draw a spell on his face with doggy blood. Immerse dog's blood in the bone. Turns out, he's the one who put the fairy grass in the candy. Then feed the dream. He himself was poisoned by the elixir. He used an animal bone to attack 1,000,000 people. With a police officer's technique, you've avoided a fatal blow. While he's still stumbling, I picked up the animal bone and cut the rope. Just in time to attack you. Then you can dodge and mess with him. I avenged my daughter for being poisoned by him. Take revenge on your wife because she wants to kill you. Revenge for all those who were killed by him. I frantically attacked him and used his own wand to kill him. When he fell, his wife had a seizure. He rushed to the altar to find a way to save her. Just open the red cloth. I'm in a panic, because inside is a girl's head. Like your wife. Not enough time to relax. The headless body came and pick up the head and put it on her neck. The girl turns around and blames you for being a loser. From the other side, the dream also appeared and blame you for cheating on her mother. Having an illicit relationship with another woman. I haven't been happy yet because my daughter can talk. Then a girl shows up and constantly blames you. Your head hurts like a hammer. The dream tells the story of the old days. When the family is safe. In the meal, she came to me and told me about her painting. I didn't care to send her away. Because I'm sad. Why do you try so hard to contribute, but not promoted? You have to bring someone from somewhere else to appoint the captain. My wife and daughter try to comfort me, but you still don't heal. Then one day, the dream is that you have another woman outside. She's the minister's daughter. Because I know you have. She hired someone to kill her mother. He cut off your mother's head with a knife. It killed your mother. The pain is not over. I was eager to marry her. And you're the shepherd, not the millions. Dreams and a strange girl constantly calling him. Priest, wake up. Are you crazy enough? An old man in a hospital bed with the oxygen tank in very tight, just woke up from a long coma. It turns out that's the root. In front of you is a beautiful girl. She is the dream. From the moment the shepherd burned down, the pastors have no money, should fall into mental instability. And he's always delusional about being the captain of the police. The dream complained that he had cruelly abandoned her mother and son. Let your mother be murdered. Be a police officer like you. They can't find the killer. He regretted being in a coma for a while. Too long to be alone. Girls worrying about everything. And she told him she hated him so much. And I don't want an irresponsible father like you. For the glory of God, you abandoned your mother. He wanted her to call him father, but she just quietly left and didn't forget to tell him. You found the courage and made him pay. When she left, he regretted coming down to bed. Open the window and end the painful dream. It was the glory that he had forgotten in the past. A happy family filled with laughter. This movie is the end. Have fun watching the movie. Hello and see you in the movie.